Support for Colorado Today comes from Safeway. Their pharmacists are here to help you and your family stay protected, offering a wide range of vaccines, including flu shots and COVID-19 boosters. Stop into the store or schedule online at safeway.com/pharmacy. Support for Colorado Today comes from Credit Union of Colorado. With access to over 30,000 ATMs and a mobile app, they're dedicated to offering the services of a big bank with a heart. Learn more at honestlygood.org.
Hola and happy Monday. Did you take a little news break over the long weekend? If so, we're here to help you get caught up. I'm Arlo Pérez Esquivel. Coming up, the big beautiful bill is now law. What does it mean for Colorado?
While all people benefit from this, not surprisingly, wealthier people will benefit more.
Then, a regent who criticized research from her own university system has been censured.
If she, in fact, cannot be at these events, that's where a lot of times she would have engagement with students.
And new digits coming soon to Colorado.
I have a hard time having to remember to put in 970 when I dial somebody these days.
It's Monday, July 7th. Here's the news in Colorado today. The U.S. House of Representatives narrowly passed President Trump's big, beautiful bill, which he signed into law. It is expected to deliver on tax cuts and spending cuts, such as Medicaid. But what else is in the bill? CPR Washington reporter Caitlin Kim followed every minute of the debates and joins us now. Hey there, Caitlin.
Hey, Arlo. I will admit not every minute because I did need some sleep.
Well, with that you watched, can you sum up what the bill does?
So the most important thing for Republicans was making permanent what you currently pay in income tax from the 2017 tax bill. Without it, tax rates would have gone back up. And while all people benefit from this, not surprisingly, wealthier people will benefit more. Now, Senate Republicans did this by using an accounting trick that still kind of blows my mind that essentially wiped away the cost of extending those tax cuts, over $4 trillion.
Whoa!
Yep, I know. And that was one big criticism of the bill. Even with spending cuts, it will blow up the national debt more than $3 trillion over the next decade. But there were a lot of other reasons Republicans wanted to vote for it. Here's Colorado Springs Representative Jeff Crank.
That it adds $150 billion to national defense, which is sorely needed. That it helps provide for border security, more border patrol agents, those sorts of things. I like the fact that it opens up oil and gas leases and stuff around the country and helps us with the greater energy independence.
It does all that and more, paid for in large part by cuts to safety net programs, including $1 trillion from healthcare programs.
Let's get more into that. When will Coloradans see work requirements for Medicaid?
So the way Republicans wrote the bill, you'll see a lot of the tax benefits right away, like your rate isn't going to go up. There are new temporary taxes like no tax on tips or overtime that will go into effect right away. But the benefit cuts aren't due to kick in until after the midterm elections next year.
You know, one thing that stands out, Colorado Republicans who voted for this, particularly Jeff Hurd and Gabe Evans, said many times that they didn't support deep cuts to Medicaid. They said that they only wanted to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. Did they go back on their promise by voting for this bill?
It's kind of like apples and oranges. Look, Medicaid is mandatory spending. It increases every year. When Republicans like Evans say they're spending more on Medicaid, that's what he's talking about. What's getting cut is part of that increase. Now, what Democrats are talking about are the new work requirements, eligibility requirements, tweaks that add up to almost $1 trillion in cuts. Republicans call it rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse, but 12 million people will lose coverage nationwide. And that's what this big, beautiful bill is supposed to do, getting people kicked off due to more paperwork. There is evidence that that will be the result. States have tried work requirements for Medicaid, and it led to eligible people losing coverage. You know that red tape that lawmakers say they go to D.C. to cut? Well, Republicans have double-wrapped Medicaid with it, and that will lead to people losing coverage.
A Kafkaesque nightmare. What does this mean for the state's finances, since Colorado has welcomed a lot more people onto the Medicaid rolls?
So it's going to blow a hole in the state budget, but again, probably not until after 2026. In the meantime, the state now has to start creating systems to sort of be able to verify that people meet work requirements.
And what about SNAP, the Federal Food Assistance Program?
Well, for people receiving it, the expanded work requirements are likely to kick in right away. So able-bodied adults up to the age of 64 now have to work. But I will add, many already do. The ticking time bomb here is Congress wants the states to pick up part of the tab for the program. This will be hundreds of millions of dollars that Colorado, which has Tabor and a balanced budget amendment, will most likely not be able to cover. Again, it's a way for Republicans to shift blame. Congress is not the one cutting SNAP. It will be the states.
So is there something else in the bill that is of particular interest to Coloradans?
The clean energy tax credits are getting phased out earlier. So if you want to buy an electric car, do it before September 30th if you want that federal tax credit. Federal tax credits for residential solar are also going away. For corporate solar and wind companies, they were thrown a little bit of an extension. But renewable companies, I think, should be worried. Trump isn't a fan of wind or solar, and he could use executive authority to further chip away at federal support for them.
Now, Democrats are united in opposition to this bill. I'm curious, what stands out to you from that opposition and what you'll keep an eye out for?
Impact on the economy. Will it be the driver Republicans are banking on it to be? Senator Michael Bennet, a Democrat, doesn't think so. He and others railed against the trickle-down economics, saying all it does is make the rich richer, the poor poorer, and add to the debt. So we'll see. Democrats will also continue to go after Republicans over the social safety net cuts to this bill, while Republicans now have the task of selling this bill to a skeptical public. So I'll also be watching to see how that plays out.
CPR Washington reporter Caitlin Kim, thank you so much.
Thank you, Arlo.
For the second time in the history of University of Colorado's system, regents censured one of their members. CPR's Elaine Tassi has been following this investigation, and now the results of the vote are in. All but one regent voted to censure Regent Wanda James. Tassi, can you sum up why the board investigated her in the first place?
So the reason that they investigated her was that she had objected to a public health campaign from CU Anschutz. And the campaign was meant to warn young people against using high-potency THC. And some of the data that they were using for that campaign came from the research done at the university. And they were warning of effects such as worsening of underlying mental health conditions, suicidal thinking, and increased risk for psychosis. So one of the elements of that campaign were these images that featured Black or dark-skinned males alongside of language describing the effects of marijuana, like laziness and poor school performance. And so Regent Wanda James thought it was racist, and she spoke out publicly about it.
So then how did the university respond?
So the university agreed that the campaign did have some racist tropes that were offensive. They validated that concern. So they agreed with what she had said, and they removed those images from the campaign. But that wasn't the end of the story, Arlo. James went on to publicly criticize the university's research. According to Westword, she had advocated for the funding to that campaign to be removed from the research and to be given as grants to cannabis businesses. And then she also had conversations with Governor Jared Polis about the images and pulling the funding from the Colorado School of Public Health. And that caused the university to accuse her of having a conflict of interest.
Why was it a conflict of interest?
Well, the reason is that she also owns a marijuana dispensary in addition to being a regent. The thought was that she would try to have taxpayer money redistributed because her business potentially could be harmed if the campaign against marijuana were effective.
And she said that it was a smear campaign, correct?
Yeah, she felt that they were going after her due to her race. The CU system has kind of a reputation among the Black community of not being very welcoming to Black people. She's the first Black woman elected to the Board of Regents in 4 decades. And so she says the message was all kind of a part of this whole anti-Blackness that she believes is kind of baked into the whole CU system. And the university, on one hand, was defending the science that it was producing, and then also at the same time warning about the danger of defunding science right now. So one of the regents who was at this meeting where they voted to censure her, his name is Elliot Hood, and he had this to say.
The bottom line is, regardless of your personal feelings or interests, there was simply no justifiable reason to publicly and continuously smear this research program, attempt to discredit the research of our scientists, and advocate to pull their funding.
But on the other hand, Wanda James had argued that the campaign and the research in general was racially biased.
To them, Black bodies are nothing more than addiction, impulse control, violence, and failed lives.
And in general, how will this censure affect her moving forward?
Well, she does remain a regent, so it's not like she's kicked off or anything like that. But consequences are, number one, she's not to attend any campus events. So meaning like a football game or something on campus that she would normally go to, she's not supposed to go anymore. And then the other consequence is that she's no longer allowed to serve on committees.
And logistically, does that limit the influence that she can have on the school culture?
Well, if she in fact cannot be at these events, that's where a lot of times she would have engagement with students and give them, encouragement and mentorship and things like that. So she's kind of concerned that some of the secondary roles of a regent that she had been serving, she won't be able to fulfill anymore.
CPR's Elaine Tassi, thank you.
Great to talk with you.
303-720-970. They're iconic Colorado numbers, right? Starting today, though, you can add a new one, 748.
748. It's different. It rolls off my tongue differently.
Janelle Morales lives in Grand Junction, which is part of the region that is getting a new area code. That one will span from northern eastern plains to the western slope. Morales is open to the change, generally speaking, but the new area code is still strange to her.
I mean, area codes have meaning. Like when I see 970, I think immediately here, right?
So what else does this mean for the long-standing 970 region? Well, CPR's Tony Gorman is here to explain. Hey there, Tony.
Hi, Arlo.
Now, to be clear, this won't affect people who already have a 970 area code, right?
Correct. It's only for new numbers issued in this large geographic region that covers cities like Fort Collins, Estes Park, Greeley, Glenwood Springs, Vail, Loveland, Aspen, and Grand Junction. The earliest a 748 area code phone number could be assigned is today, but it's most likely will be months before you'll see one pop up on your phone. Here's Daryl Branson with the Colorado Public Utilities Commission.
No 748 area code phone numbers will be issued until the 970 area code is completely exhausted. So we won't actually see any of those issued probably until either late this year or early next year.
But how did we get here? Was Colorado outgrowing its area codes?
Yeah, so let's go behind the scenes a bit. There's a federal body called the North American Numbering Plan Administrator. It must file a petition with the state regulator 3 years before it projects when phone numbers will run out. So the federal group did that with Colorado once it projected that the 970 could run out in early 2026. That was the projection. And Daryl Branson told me this is due to population growth and residents buying multiple phone lines.
And when was the last time Colorado got a new area code?
Okay, you may not see it much yet, but the Denver metro area was introduced to the 983 area code in 2022. So it's the second time recently for the state. And this new one, it's expected to last 38 years.
Oh, so a while from now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Tony.
You're welcome.
We heard at the top what one resident thought of this new area code, and it turns out public opinion, at least in the streets of Grand Junction, is mixed.
It used to be 303 for the entire state, but everybody's got all of these phones and digital requirements, so it's whatever. I have a hard time having to remember to put in 970 when I dial somebody these days, because it used to be you didn't have to.
970 748.
I don't have any feelings about that at all. None. I am not from here. When people give me their phone number, I still ask them the area code. I don't just assume it's 970.
No, 748.
I think you could have, 007. I would much rather have that. You could have 123 or 321. Both far preferable to 748.
That was Nick Bardo, Abe Erickson, Kendra Fortin, Augie Erickson, and Scott Miller. Thanks to CPR's Tina Seek for talking to them out in the streets. Thank you for listening to today's show. Tune in tomorrow to stay up to date with what's happening around you. And remember to follow Colorado Today in your podcast app. I'm Arlo Perez Esquivel. This is CPR News.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Safeway. Their pharmacists are here to help you and your family stay protected, offering a wide range of vaccines, including flu shots and COVID-19 boosters. Stop into the store or schedule online at safeway.com/pharmacy. Support for Colorado Today comes from Credit Union of Colorado. With access to over 30,000 ATMs and a mobile app, they're dedicated to offering the services of a big bank with a heart. Learn more at honestlygood.org.